Hi, I'm Neely Jones, your host of Focus on Suppliers. This week we have a jam-packed show focused on innovative breakthroughs in the retail industry. Our friends from Unilever stopped by to discuss the company's groundbreaking decision to remove gender stereotyping from all advertising. Plus, Mattel's vice presidential and presidential Barbie pack break new ground with different shapes, sizes, and skin tones. And General Mills meets innovation head-on by removing artificial flavors and colors from cereals. Focus on Suppliers starts right now.
Focus on Suppliers is presented by Yates and Walton, the premier destination for supplier development, and sponsored in part by Dun & Bradstreet, Saatchi and Saatchi X, Case Stack, Excel Displays and Packaging, and other outstanding companies.
Your Millennial Fun Fact is that 78% of millennials believe that innovation is key to a company's growth. We want to think about millennials becoming a larger and larger part of our workforce. I know at our agency, about 60% of our workforce are millennials. We've got to keep them interested in their day-to-day by constantly innovating. Innovation can come in many different forms. It can be how you connect with them, how you complete annual reviews, and really how you think about innovation for your product development life cycle. As we look across our industry and we really think about how we connect with the millennial shopper and also our millennial employees, it boils down to them being interested and connected back to making a difference. About 71% of millennials believe that innovation within businesses and within their own personal development actually benefits society as a whole. And we'll see you next week for the next Millennial Minute.
When we talk about innovation, whom better to speak with than our friends from Mattel, which brings me to our guest, Erin. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
You guys are really doing a lot of exciting, significant changes, and we have a product here. I want to start out with this because this is big news.
Very big news. It is the first two-woman running mate ticket. There's a lot of diversity in the running mate two-pack. So moms can take their daughters to shelf at retail, and in the box there could be Barbie represented with her vice president that's an African American doll, or you could have a president that is an African American doll alongside a Latina running mate. So it's a really great representation of where the Barbie brand continues to break boundaries as it relates to the brand.
And how it's evolving, because a lot of people, when they think of Barbie and Mattel, they think traditional, and this is really kind of taking things a step forward.
Yeah, I think, it's it is tied to a nonprofit, Girls Can Lead. It is all about empowerment. Earlier this year with the Barbie brand, we kind of changed the game when we moved to not only having the original sculpt for Barbie, but moving into 3 additional sculpts, the petite, the tall, the curvy. Mm-hmm. It was just an iteration on top of the work that we had done with Barbie Fashionista last year in terms of infusing diversity into the entire line. So when a little girl goes to shelf, she is going to have a representation of what she looks like or her friends look like. It really is a reflection of where we are taking the brand.
When we talk about innovation, you say you're doing innovation in many different ways. How are you doing things differently in marketing?
In order to be an innovative company, it has to be integrated in every part of the experience journey that you have that impacts your end consumer. So I'll be that in marketing, in product, in merchandising. On the marketing front, a lot of the work that we have done with the You Can Be Anything campaign has been driven through digital. And the more and more we leverage, YouTube and Instagram, and Facebook to drive the brand, the more engagement and actual favorable responses that we're getting from both mom and girls, and we see it in our sales.
So what all led to this?
We had some pretty significant leadership changes that took place over the last couple of years. Richard Dixon came back to our company, and he has really infused the need for us to be more in tune with pop culture and with the current marketplace in the United States, which is incredibly diverse, and that the product itself, our marketing, and even our merchandising needs to reflect the communities by which our consumers are living in. I think the more in tune you are with the local communities and you're driving your modulars, your merchandising, your marketing, and your product to represent those communities, it will have a direct impact on sales. And we have seen it in our own sales with Walmart.
Erin Fish, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Be sure to like 8th and Walton on Facebook.
Hi, this is Jared Davis, and welcome to Retail Insights. Today, we're visiting with Sara Gilbert of 8th and Walton. Sara, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
I know we're talking about a great new program from 8th and Walton. Tell me a little bit about Program 360.
Program 360 is a strategic, customized solution that 8th and Walton has created that combines our education, advisory, and media services. So each supplier who participates in this program will have a dedicated client services manager, and that person will help quickly establish suppliers' team development skills, specific advisory needs, and how they can really engage with our media services throughout a year in a cohesive plan.
What led 8th and Walton to put this Program 360 concept together?
Well, 8th and Walton, we have been serving suppliers for over 10 years, and most of the time that has been through our education services, through training needs as they develop, or as suppliers bring on new team members. So what we recognized was that if we can create a cohesive, ongoing plan for suppliers that will really dig into their annual needs and help them with any crisis needs, temporary training needs that they can foresee in the future or just plan on, that it really helps suppliers when they're in a bind.
So for the suppliers watching right now who are considering Program 360, what's their biggest advantage in soliciting this program?
With Program 360, it's all customized to every supplier's need. And so we start off with an assessment with the suppliers, with their team members, to figure out where their skills development is. Is it retail link? Is it intermediate classes? Where can we really help them from education? In addition to that, their one-on-one needs as they come up, specific advisory needs, any kind of temporary or crisis training that they may have, we try to foresee that and plan that. And then in addition, we like to follow up and measure how their success is going throughout the year so that they have a really strong ROI with our program.
All right, Sara Gilbert from 8th and Walton, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll be right back.
Joining us now to talk more about innovation, Jeff Amerine from Startup Junkie. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's great to be back, Neely.
I always love seeing. I want to talk today a little bit about growth and competitive advantage and some of the things that folks need to consider and keep in mind.
Well, there's typically three ways that we look at that. One is you build your own. The second is you buy from a third party in terms of innovation. And the third can be through strategic acquisition, like we've seen recently with Walmart's purchase of Jet.com.
Well, let's look at that. When we look at Jet.com, what's the future there?
They were really looking to acquire three different things. One is customer segment that they don't have today, more affluent customer segment that likes to buy things online. The second was technology. There's a pricing algorithm there that's completely consistent with everyday low pricing and being able to deliver in bulk at low cost. And the third is an executive team and talent that could maybe help re-energize Walmart.com.
When we look at acquisitions, what are some of the mitigating factors that lead to success and what leads to failure?
You know, the stats have not been tremendously good over the years. In fact, Harvard Business Review did some research that said about 70% of all acquisitions tend to fail. And some of the reasons why that happens is there's not enough attention paid to aligning the cultures between the acquiring company and the target company.
So when we look at Walmart and their recent acquisition, there are different cultures there for sure.
No question about it. So you've got in Jet.com a company that's kind of cool, kind of hip, serial entrepreneur based in Hoboken, New Jersey, right across from New York, versus Walmart, which is everywhere and has a very particular type of culture. So aligning that in a way that maintains that agility that Jet.com has will be really important to make the acquisition successful.
And then that brings you to, I would think, technology.
So the second area that sometimes causes failure is not paying enough attention to integration of the technology. And that can be a really painstaking process. You're talking about huge systems and making sure that you get the best of what you wanted to get out of the technology without causing it to be a support nightmare.
And then do you look at market changes?
So all of this is driven by the fact that there is this demographic change where there's a segment of the population that would really rather buy online than through brick and mortar. And so to capture that, if you begin to look at the comparative growth rates and revenue of Amazon.com versus Walmart, they had to do something. And this appears to be really strategic from that standpoint.
What are some key categories where acquisition might be preferred over innovation and strategy?
A lot of times it's questionable in digital whether it makes sense. So things where there's a lot of digital content. But I would say food and beverage is huge. So if you look at within a consumer packaged goods brand, some of these staid brands that have been around for a long time, they have to get onto that on-trend segment of better for you, organic, natural foods. And so rather than making the capital expenditure themselves, they're acquiring some of those brands that are capturing that customer segment.
I mean, we are really watching a shift change when it comes to the retail world.
No doubt about it. And it's almost a little bit difficult to keep up with. But acquisition is one of those ways where you can have the company that you're acquiring sort of beat the risk out of the deal, out of the opportunity, and then acquire it at a point where it can still bring value if you're careful about these points of integration and culture.
I love talking with you because I always learn from you, which brings me to, we're going to be seeing more of you.
Yeah, the Innovation District. It's going to be a new segment. We're going to start down in Fayetteville. We're going to talk to some of the great innovators down there that are really creating the density around new venture development and new product creation.
Because a lot of people don't realize how much we have of that here when it comes to entrepreneurship and new beginnings.
There's a lot going on. So if you look at a place that's got a larger concentration of consumer packaged goods and retail, professional talent anywhere in the world, there's bound to be great new ventures starting every day.
Jeff, always a treat to see you. Thank you for being here.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back. Joining us now for this week's Heart of Business from the Northwest Arkansas Food Bank, please welcome Kent Eickenberry. Kent.
Thank you, Neely.
Good to see you. I want to talk a little bit about the food bank and what you do.
Okay. We are the agency that provides food to the food pantries, who in turn provide it to the roughly 125,000 people who live in Northwest Arkansas who are hunger challenged.
A lot of those people are kids.
They are. The percentage is a little higher. 1 in 3 are children. And then, of course, there's also the seniors who, in many cases, are raising kids and are having to make the decision if they want to buy food or medicines.
Which no one should be put in that position. You guys find unique ways to reduce cost.
You know, one of the biggest projects we have is a reclamation project where we take something that the store can't sell. Primarily, it's only because of appearance's sake, but they can't sell it. They choose not to sell it, so they donate it to us. It may be a can of pork and beans that's slightly dented. It hasn't damaged the integrity of the product, but yet, you know, as a consumer, you're going to go in and you're going to see a dented can, you're going to see a clean can, you're going to take the clean can. So in order to get that product off the shelf, the retailers donate it to us.
One of the things I love about the food bank is there's so many different ways to get involved, and in fact, it might be volunteering.
Yeah, we really enjoy people to volunteer. It's a great team building opportunity, whether it's packing boxes for our senior mobile pantry or helping to pack children's snack packs for the Samaritan Center to distribute, or sorting these cans that are still good and trying to make the decision if they go into the box or go into the trash. Right. So each of those things, you know, are good ways for teams to get away and spend a little time together.
You can do that. You can donate money. You can donate your time. You guys will take all the help you can get. Ken,
absolutely. We did 1,600 hours of volunteers in July, which equates to 40 full-time employees.
So you can donate time, product, or money. You guys will take all of the above. Kent, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Follow us on Instagram at 8th and Walton.
Armatron impressed me when I bought a watch in 2005 before my second deployment to Iraq. And on that deployment, I was hit by a roadside bomb, and I was wearing that Armatron watch. It's almost as if that watch was a part of me. It went through the explosion. It sat in a drawer, lonely. It was like my depression. And to pull it out, clean it off, put it on, and it still worked, it's my story.
Bentonville Commerce, less than 1 mile from the Walmart home office. You'll love the convenience, amenities, and customized options Bentonville Commerce offers. For more information or a tour, call 479-200-1112 today.
You just had your buyer meeting. Now there's follow-up to do. Maybe your buyer wants more on seasonal sales, or invited you to prepare a joint business plan or set up a date for your line review. Eighth and Walton can help. Our experts work with you one-on-one in a confidential setting to prepare for your next buyer meeting. The classes we offer help you too. Retail Link, Supply Chain Management, Inventory Management, taught in cities across the country, in Canada, and in Latin America. So before your next buyer meeting, contact Eighth and Walton. Then relax, knowing that you will be ready.
Joining us now, Josh Yates from General Mills. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, of course.
We asked you to come in because we wanted to talk to you about making a change, removing the artificial colors from your cereals. What prompted this?
Yeah. You know, as a company, we've been making cereal for almost 100 years. If you go back to the 1920s, our first cereal was Wheaties, followed right behind by Cheerios and Kix. And as long as we've been making cereal, Neely, we've been trying to find ways to make it better, more relevant for our consumers. And for a long time, our consumers were telling us, what they wanted added to the cereal. They wanted it fortified. We added vitamin D, we added calcium, we added other vitamins and minerals. They told us that they wanted it more whole grain. We added 10 grams of whole grain to every serving of our cereal. After a while, they started telling us what they didn't want. They wanted less sugar. We took 20% of the sugar out of our kids' cereals. And if you listen to the consumer right now, what they're telling us most loudly is they're talking about artificial colors and artificial flavors. 49% of our consumers today are actively trying to avoid those in their diets. And so it's something that we felt like we needed to take head on. And so last July, we started rolling out new formulations of our cereal without those ingredients.
And it took a long time to get here. I mean, it didn't just happen last July. You've actually been kind of working on this for years.
Yeah, we've been working on this for about 4 years. We started talking about it openly for about 2 years, but first we had to figure out how big of a project would this be. We found some of our cereals really easy to take on. Plain Cheerios, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. We found really good resolutions to those as far as getting the yellow 5, the yellow 4 out of there. Other cereals, it was a lot harder. Trix, one of our very highly colorful items, we had to find lots of ways to get more natural colors and flavors in there. So we experimented with carrot juice and tomato juice and other ways to get in there. And so we just rolled out last January where to about 90% of our cereals are there. And we expect by 2017 we'll have the whole line.
That's fantastic. How has it been received by consumers and retailers as well? Yeah,
I'll tell you, the retailers were really positive on this from the beginning. They see the same trends that we as a manufacturer do on clean labels and the opportunities within it. What I tell you is they were scared, as were we, on a category this big. Cereal's a multi-billion-dollar category. Would we offset some of our consumers? And so we spent a long time with our shoppers, with our consumers, understanding what they really wanted through this. And so through multiple iterations, we found formulations we're happy with. And to date, the results from the consumer has been pretty good. About 90% of consumers today have cereal in their households. I'll tell you, the millennial consumer today, 94%. We're getting really positive feedback from the millennial consumer on this move.
Now let me ask you this. What's been the biggest challenge in this change? Because I'm assuming there are a lot of moving parts here.
Yeah. Hearts, stars, horseshoes, clovers, and balloons. Definitely the hardest thing for us was Lucky Charms. And one, frankly, we haven't quite cracked the code on yet. Marshmallows, for anybody who's ever tried to make marshmallows at home, they react really aggressively to changes. And so we're trying to find the right way to replace some of those colors with more natural ingredients. We're close. By 2017, we'll be there. Lucky Charms has been hard. I'll tell you, the other has been the blue and green and Tricks. You can see in this package, we actually walked away from those colors because we couldn't find ones that we felt were right for the consumer. And so we're still looking to find better versions of those that we can add back into the product.
A way to adapt. Do you have any advice for another supplier, maybe watching this, we don't have a lot of time, but that's thinking about making a big change?
Yeah, listen to your shopper. Don't just listen to what they're telling you, but what they really are doing with their dollars, the way that they're going out there. I tell you, the biggest thing is the shopper, they're not willing to make a bunch of trade-offs for this change. They still expect high taste. They still expect an appealing product. They're not willing to trade off to get these out, but they'll reward you if you make the right moves.
Thank you so much for being here with us today.
It was a pleasure. Thanks.
We'll be right back. When we talk about innovation, obviously technology comes to mind, which brings me to our next guest. You're going to truly enjoy getting to know Frank Maione, who is here with us from Perceptimed. Thank you for making the time.
Neely, thank you for having me.
Let's give a little bit of background as far as how your company came about.
Oh, it's by personal incident. Our founder, Dr. Alan Jacobs' father-in-law, was prescribed the wrong medication multiple times and kept getting sicker and sicker. As a doctor, he said he can't be happening to just one individual, and he took that on as a personal challenge to try to prevent others from having the same adverse challenge that his father-in-law went through.
Let's examine that a little further and really look at, when it comes to human error and dispensing medications, what we're seeing there.
Yeah. Pharmacists don't get up in the morning and say, I'm going to make an error today. They get up in the morning to do the best job they can. They're the #1 trusted professional in America, and they are distracted many times by many different things. They're doing immunizations, counseling, medication therapy, and dispensing. And so a wrong bottle, a wrong dose pulled by accident is an error. Our device, our technology, prevents that from happening.
You actually have 2 different products that I want to touch on today. Let's look at those.
We do. They're both leading-edge technologies. The Identrix is our quality pill verification device that sits at the workstation at the pharmacies, and it prevents wrong medicines or wrong doses going in a vial. Our second one is a will call technology. It's a radio frequency technology that illuminates a light when you come as a customer to check in and get your prescription. And so the benefit with that is that prescription vial is married up to the bag, the technology in the bag. You will never be given the wrong medication in the wrong bag, or even your HIPAA information will not be given erroneously to somebody by mistake. So protection for the consumer, speed for the consumer. For the retailer, it's all about labor redeployment and inventory benefits.
Well, when you start to eliminate mistakes, that's also protection for the retailer as well, I would think.
Oh, significant protection for the retailer. Most retailers are self-insured and they have reserves. Mm-hmm. Those reserves are typically not used to grow a business, they're used to protect a business. Our technology helps them protect it in ways that also allow them to grow their business.
When will this technology be available in stores widely for retailers?
Our will call system is available now.
Right now.
We're in 3 states, we're commercial, we're rolling out. Our Identrix technology begins first quarter of 2017.
Very exciting time in your world.
It's very exciting.
Thank you so much, Frank, for making the time to visit with us.
Thank you for having me, Neely.
We'll be right back. Visit us at 8thandwalton.com to learn how you can become a better partner with Walmart.
Join us on Thursday, October 27th for the Signature Chefs Auction of Northwest Arkansas, an evening of food and fun as we raise money to benefit the March of Dimes. Help us give every baby a fighting chance. For more information, go to marchofdimes.org.
Mark your calendars. Saturday, December 3rd is the 23rd Annual Charity Ball for Mercy Health Foundation, Northwest Arkansas. Save your seat at mercy.net/NWA-charity-ball or call 479-338-2990.
K-Stack, the leader in collaborative retail consolidation programs. We offer the supply chain expertise needed to navigate the challenges of selling products with the world's largest retailers. And we provide customers with a customizable, scalable, environmentally sustainable supply chain with the same advanced technology typically used by larger rivals. By leveling the playing field, K-Stack lowers distribution costs and increases overall margins. K-Stack, retail logistics is what we do. Bentonville Plaza, across the street from the Walmart home office. The best office location offers proximity and services like no other business complex in the area. Call 479-200-1112 today.
Unilever recently announced it's going to change gender stereotyping in its ads. With us today, Jim Breach from Unilever. Thank you for making the time.
Thanks for inviting me.
This is very exciting and so refreshing. A nice approach when it comes to marketing and advertising. Where did this stem from? Where did this start?
So Unilever, is part of their journey in our sustainable living program, our Unilever Sustainable Living Program, has got a number of different portions and pillars underneath that. And one of the things that we've talked about as part of our Unilever Sustainable Living Program is the fact that we want to have brands with purpose. And so, we know brands that have a purpose grow faster than other brands in the market. There's some great examples outside of Unilever. Tom's and Patagonia are a couple of examples. And in our portfolio, we've got our own examples like Dove, like Vaseline, and various brands like that, where we realize that when a consumer can connect with a brand emotionally, in addition to it connecting with the brand in terms of what it can do and the efficacy of the brand or the way that it can satisfy a consumer's need, that's a brand that can really grow.
It's interesting that you mentioned Dove, because you have shared with me before a story about you're speaking at a university and a student asked you a very relevant question. Can you share a bit of that story?
Yeah, so I had a chance to speak at a university, and as college students do, they loaded up on some very interesting and serious questions. And so one of the first questions that I was asked was, obviously Unilever owns Dove, and it's a great company that has a brand like Dove that talks about real beauty and really, kind of championing personal control and personal management in Dove. But you also own Axe. And so how does a company like Unilever reconcile the fact that you own both of those brands? And it was a cool question. And basically what I said was, Axe as a brand has been on a journey, and early in its infancy as a brand, yeah, it was, quite frankly, all about the mating game and all about, the way that it could make you more attractive to the opposite sex. Mm-hmm. Where Axe has really gone on its journey now is to be less about that sort of a frat boy brand, and it's been a lot more about our new motto is, how do you find your magic? And so it's really about sort of self-confidence for men, and how when you're self-confident, you can be your best you. Your best you is the most attractive you. Right, and so we've sort of changed the entire thing around, and we've made it that. And then, by the way, we still will have women in our ads, but when you see the women in our ads, they're treated with great respect. They're obviously in control in the situation that they're in, and so it's really been a journey like that for a lot of our brands.
It's a fantastic story, and I love that you share that. So we're going to see some different things maybe in marketing and advertising down the road.
Yeah, you are. What we're going to be changing, and what we announced basically, was the fact that we realized that that there's a lot of stereotyping in advertising, and right, wrong, or indifferent. It's sort of the way that advertising has gone in a lot of ways. And I think Unilever took a very introspective view of the way that we portray all of our folks in advertising, men and women in our advertising. And what we realized was that while we celebrate moms and we absolutely love moms, there's a lot of women out there that are working, and a lot of our advertising doesn't really portray those women necessarily as being in the workplace, as being professionals, as being athletes. And so what we're going to really focus on is making sure that what we do in our advertising is represent a lot of different places and ways that women live their lives. Same thing with men, by the way. Mm-hmm. A lot of advertising show men at work and in control. And the reality of it is there's a lot of dads out there, and there's a lot of time they want to spend with their kids, and there's dads that, quite frankly, sometimes don't have everything figured out. And so we're going to portray, be more real about the way we portray people in the ads. And what we believe is when consumers see that, they'll identify better with the people that are in the ads, and then identify better with the products that are represented by those ads. And
you say Unilever's motto is do the right thing whether people notice or not, and that you just feel like this is the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it goes back to our sustainable living program. When our CEO, Paul Pullman, first brought this up about 7 years ago, one of the things that he said was we can't disconnect our growth from the impact that we make on our planet or the impact that we want to make socially. And so, quite frankly, whether we get recognized, with an award for doing this, or whether we've got articles written about it, isn't really the point. The point is we know it's the right thing to do for the business. And it's just one of the many ways that as you take a look at the way Unilever wants to push their business forward, the way that we want to portray not just our brand, but ourselves as a company, we want to portray ourselves because it's the right thing to do. And that is also a journey, by the way. I'm not going to tell you that we're perfect. We're not. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to always move towards what the right thing is.
Jim, so nice to see you. Thank you so much for sharing those insights.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
We'll be right back.
Our guests enjoy staying at the 21C Museum Hotel and hosting dinner, meetings, and product launches there.
That does it for this week's episode. Here are 3 key takeaways you might want to jot down. First, when going through an acquisition or merger, remember people. Integrating cultures makes for a very successful future. Also, if you're developing new products, imagine new opportunities for your consumer. Basically, picture what a new world might look like for them. And don't be afraid of change. Yes, challenges do come with creating new industry standards, but so does growth. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here next time.